Oh, why are we doing this to ourselves? I don't get it. Why are we doing this? No, stop it. Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is Boost My Build, the series where we take your PC builders, we tear them up, put them back together, and massively increase your performance. And oh my goodness, do we have the two craziest builds we've ever had. We start off with a $650 gaming PC build. Is that even possible in 2025? Then we're gonna jump into an $1,800 gaming PC build that is a total dumpster fire. Can we save them, or is this one cooked? If you get value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by the OMG Mirage 4, a compact micro ATX PC case that refuses to compromise. Top-mounted 240mm AIO cooler or air coolers up to 165mm in height. The Mirage 4's 30mm gap between GPU and bottom intake fans improves vertical airflow, increasing cooling where you need it most. Dual zone cable routing allows for easy cable management. Creating a clean build is a snap with rubber grommet hole covers and 3 included ARGB fans and hub. Get it in black or white at a price that fits into most PC build budgets. And OMG cases are now available at your local Micro Center. If you are looking for a compact footprint, great performance, and clean look, check out the OMG Mirage 4 using the link in the video description. We've got Ryan Williams. They're doing a new build for $650 USD. Oh my goodness. Can we do that in 2025? We're about to find out. They're in the US. The budget is for the PC only, which is good. They said, I built my PC and now my 10-year-old son wants me to build him one. I mostly plays Roblox, Fortnite, Rocket League, Minecraft, and some other occasional titles, hoping to give him something semi-capable should he wish to explore other titles. And they're looking for 1080p is our target resolution here. Let's see what you got. Insanity. And I just don't want you to build this. Please don't buy these parts. Big time out on the field. It's not just that we're over budget on this one, but we are picking parts that I think are actively dangerous and are not going to give you the performance you want. Let's jump through this. So $755, we're already well over our $600 to $650 budget. And for that price, if you want to spend $750, I could get you a significantly better build. The challenge with super budget builds is oftentimes if you spend $50 more, the value of that build jumps dramatically, right? So we're going to do our best to get you $650. I just want you to know, check out our Prime Day builds that we did in July. We were able to hit a really good price point and get like a super great GPU and a really good high 1440p experience for right around $750 to $800. Not that much more. But let's jump through, like, what's the problem here? First of all, the GPU, you have an Arc B580, you have the Intel limited edition. Yeah, you can get it off Amazon for $327. That's crazy. The GPU, actually, I would get the Onyx Odyssey one, which is $259, close enough to MSRP. The problem with this GPU is it's not a 1080p GPU. Now, you might not know that because the CPU overhead on this GPU is so high that you really need to do 1440p. And if you go to 1080p, you think, oh, I'm gonna get more FPS. You're not. You're gonna bottleneck your CPU. And this is gonna be a problem because the CPU that we went with is the Ryzen 5500. And not only is this a PCIe Gen 3 CPU, so we're going to lose some of the speed of the GPU, but it's also not enough CPU for this GPU because the CPU overhead is so high. This is the problem with the Arc B580 series. I was hoping that they would be able to fix this. Maybe in the future they will, but I know it's like $73, so attractive. But the problem here is you're dropping down to PCIe Gen 3. It's only got 8 lanes on the GPU instead of the full 16 lanes on it because Intel did like NVIDIA and AMD has done in the past, cuts corners on the more budget GPUs. You're going to kind of have a disaster experience. And the other thing about this build, as we're going through this, like I don't mind that we went with a garbage B450 motherboard. Oof, no VRM heat sinks on this thing. This is a really rough board. Now, there are some other B450s for like $5 or $6 out there that you get. And again, we don't need, you know, that we don't need PCI Gen 4 because our CPU isn't going to be PCI Gen 4 on it. Some other big problems out here. This PSU, I believe I'll have to double check. The Galaxy is F tier rated. Most of Apivia's PSUs are F tier rated. There's one good unit out there. It's the Apivia Prestige 600 800 watt unit. And when I say good, I mean it is hit C tier. And the reason it's good is because they sell it for $50. And it's insanely valuable for budget PC builders like yourself. You don't want to buy this. First of all, we don't need 850 watts. We're spending $70. we could have gotten a 600 watt PSU for this build, and we could have saved ourselves some money there. So I'm seeing a lot of problems. I don't mind going with the $49 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, which kind of seems crazy cheap to me. That's actually a good deal. But stuff like the other problem right now is that the DDR4 3200 CL16 RAM has almost doubled in price since Prime Day because a lot of it sold through. I'm almost afraid right now that we've hit an inflection point on DDR4 where when DDR5 came out, they were still making DDR4, and we've sold through the backlog of DDR4 now, and it was super cheap for a while. I'm now afraid that DDR4 is going to start becoming super expensive. The way, if go ahead and look for DDR3 out there, we may be seeing the end of AM4 platform as a budget platform out there, but we have a couple of tricks up our sleeve. I don't mind the case. The Aqua 3 is a great micro ATX case. $64, you know, this is where like every dollar counts. I think we could probably get away with a cheaper version of this case that has no RGB on it for like $55, or there's some other alternatives out there to take a look at as well. But again, you know, this is just a rough thing. The puzzling thing here is I love cable connector kits. I love going to go with a red and black one here. But for $20, we don't need this in our build. We don't have enough headroom in our build, and this is something that we can always add in the future. So I want to like wrap our head around what are the things that we actually need in the build right now that we have to invest money in, and what are things that we can leave ourselves open to increase in the future. But we've got to get performance in the areas we need it right now, where we're not going to be able to add stuff in later, like the CPU and the GPU. All right, here's the $635 max value gaming PC. Let me tell you, this one was crazy hard. I tried everything. I did try and use the 5500 to finagle our way to a higher end GPU like the 96T XT, 16 gigabyte, couldn't do it. Just know I tried everything here and I finished out at $635.94. Let's go through the GPU options here because kind of a log jam. This is the Shangri-La, the 96T XT. This is the XFX Swift model, currently at $360 basically. It's essentially at its MSRP. I would pick this up in a heartbeat. We have this one. It's a great model. However, I can't fit it in your budget, even using the Ryzen 5500 or like the i3 1200F, which is the same price right now, and even using like a garbage tier B450 motherboard. So we can't quite get there. We would need about another $80 to $90 to get there, and that would be significantly better in terms of performance. But what can we do for your budget? I looked at the 5050. It's $250 right now, and this is kind of a trashy unit. It's going to be too slow, as we'll see in the benchmarks in just a second. 3060, 12 gigs, also potentially an option at $250. Then we get into more GPUs with other issues. Obviously, the 5050 has 8 gigs, as does the 5060. And the 5060 is more expensive. It's $299. But wait, there's more. What about the 9060 XT? Because it's on for $249 right now. What happens is you buy this at Newegg, they then send you a gift card 4 days later, and then you'll use the gift card to buy the CPU and the motherboard and all that kind of stuff. So you essentially get this at $249, and that actually might be our best value, but I did decide ultimately to go with your original choice, which is the Arc B580. This is the Onyx Odyssey one. We have this one. It's a nice model. Two big fans, got a really beefy cooler on it, but let's check out the performance. So this is the TechSpot RTX 5050 review, and I'm gonna have to scroll down a little bit here. So this is 1080p, and then we'll look at 1440p since you were looking at 1080p. So basically the RTX 5050, you can see it's slightly faster than the 3060, but both of them are slower than the Arc B580, even at 1080p. I will say they test this with a 9800 X3D. We're testing with a weaker CPU. Should that matter a little bit? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say if you're ever going to see the benefit of the 12 gigs of VRAM in that thing or not. But look at the 9060 XT and 5060. They are significantly faster GPUs, but of course they're limited to 8 gigs of VRAM. That's why I wanted to get to that 16 gigabyte 9060 XT at almost 100 FPS average for 1080p. Switching over to 1440p, you can see the Arc B580, significantly better performance, very similar to the 6700 XT. By the way, you could consider finding one of those used out there as well. That would be a really, really good pickup, the 6700 XT 12 gigabyte. But the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte performs really well. The 9060 XT 8GB, not as well anymore as it was doing, because now we've moved to 1440p. We do run out of VRAM in a couple of games, but the 5060 and other VRAM limited GPUs also suffer a little bit. So these are all the trade-offs. Ultimately, I did decide to go with the RP 580, but any of those are viable should you decide to go with a different GPU. Let's jump through the rest of the platform. I decided to give you something that has future upgradability. My problem with AM4 right now is, like, any of the CPUs that you would upgrade to are essentially gone off the market. Unfortunately, AM4 is really kind of dead in terms of its future upgradability, because unless you want to buy a 5800X3D or 5700X3 used, and they're actually quite expensive used, you have to get one for like $300, but you can get an i5 14600K for like $180 right now. So something like the i5 12400F makes a lot of sense. It comes with an included stock cooler to it. It's as fast as the 5600X, sometimes even faster in some games and some workloads. And it's adequate for the cooler for everything that you want to do right now. And in the future, as long as we get a good enough motherboard, you're going to drop a 14600K in here at a relative discount. Again, because not everyone's clamoring for that CPU, and it will perform similarly to a Ryzen 9600X, which is a phenomenal gaming performance. Now, the way I got this together is Newegg is running this insane combo deal with the Asus B760M-AWY Wi-Fi D4. It's a fine motherboard. I can't find much information about the VRMs. However, just know that LGA 1700 motherboards are drying up pretty rapidly. So it's either this or the boards get quite a bit more expensive. This is a fine board, and it comes with a 32 gig kit, a 2x16 gigabyte kit of G.Skill Ripjaw's DDR4 3200 CL16. So 2 thumbs up, $129 for the whole package. That's crazy, because you were going to spend about $60 just for the RAM, and that's what DDR4 RAM is going for. That's why get this. I will leave this link down in the video description. Check it out. So it's a great combo altogether. Now for the drive here, I'm kind of a stickler for your budget. I did cut this down to 500 gigabytes. It's the same drive you were looking at for $49. I'm getting it for $29, but $650 you said was your stretch. So I'm basically treating $650 as a hard cutoff. If you can find a little bit of extra money, then I would probably go with the 1 terabyte. But this is one of the small compromises I had to make to fit everything in the budget. For the case, Thermaltake Versa H16, just buy this. Don't even think about it. Great, phenomenal case out there. It just goes in and out of stock is my only complaint with it, because they don't seem to be able to supply enough of it. But phenomenal case, 3 included ARGB fans to it. $54. It looks great. I mean, just snap it up. And for the power supply, I got you the correct one. This is the Apevia Prestige 600 watt C-tier rated PSU on the SPL PSU tier list. Apevia does not make very good PSUs. However, this one is amazing for budget builders. Let's just get this one instead. So all told, $635.94. Again, if you want to go with the 9060 XT 8 gigabyte, maybe that is the better play here. But either way, it's about the same price. You're going to get an amazingly performative 1080p gaming PC that will be upgradable to 1440p. And you've got performance right now that you're really looking for. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. All right, we got Eclipse. They say, I'm looking for a new build, $1,800 US in the USA, but their budget needs to include a 1440p gaming monitor. And they say, hello, Jason. I've been trying to put this build together to play with my son. All right, that's awesome. My computer can't keep up with current titles, and even Minecraft is having issues, but they want to keep their CPU. i7 13700K, I don't know about that. First of all, if you already have the i7 13700K and you're having issues, that might be degradation right there. If you want to buy it new, it's not the best value, but we'll take a look. And they do need a monitor. All right, let's see what you got. Oh, why are we doing this to ourselves? I don't get it. Why are we doing this? No, stop it. What am I talking about? Well, there's almost so much going on here that it's kind of hard to know where to start. Let's go ahead and start with the budget. $1,961.78. Obviously, what's the problem there with $161.78 over your budget? I can see why you're struggling with this build here, because you're trying to shoehorn in. You're like, I don't know why we're so fixated on this particular CPU. It's not even that good of CPU in 2025. And for $392 for an i7 13700K, what's going on? They're probably completely out of stock at this point, and the remaining few listings are massively overpriced. Like, if we just go to Amazon right now or Newegg or whatever, and what is the i7 14700K selling for right now? $297 for the 14700K. It's $100 cheaper for a better CPU. What if we went with like the 265K? Hopefully that'll pull up. $269 for the Ultra 7 265K. So it's like crazy that we're going for this massively overpriced CPU. And again, if you already own it and you're having problems with it, I would not use it because it probably has degradation issues. So we probably need to replace it. So this CPU is not going to work. The other problem I see here, yeah, the GPU. So we went with the RX 7900 XTX and we want to play at 1440p. If you were like convinced at 4K, I would say maybe at 4K, this might also be considerable. And listen, if you bought it and you put this build together, it would not be the worst build in the world, although there's some problems that we got to fix for it. But for $900 for this GPU at 1440p, you don't have FSR4 or DLSS4. And to me, that's a mistake, especially if you're going to pay $900 for it. I can get you a 9070 XT for $729 or $699 even right now, or I can get you a 57 Ti that did actually hit MSRP a couple of days ago, though that model sold out for about $770, $780 right now. So we can get a better GPU for a lot less money. But I do want to talk about this monitor. It's kind of like we just picked one of the garbage tier curved V8 panels because we're just like, whatever. I just need a 1440p monitor that's got a good refresh rate and I don't want to spend more than $200. Why are we going to spend so much on this box to output massive FPS and then have a garbage monitor? Like, who cares how much FPS you're getting if the FPS looks like garbage? And I can't find any good reviews on this monitor. So to me, these sub $200 curved VA panels are guilty until proven innocent because there's so many trash ones on the market. But without any kind of evidence, I'm just going to assume it's bad. Let's get you a good gaming monitor. I like the Vector V360 for 13700K, 14700K, maybe not sufficient, even though it's a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, because those are really hot CPUs. But it is a pretty good budget tier cooler, and man, $50, that's like highway robbery. That is a great price. A Gigabyte Z790 Eagle AX, perfectly fine motherboard, $169. I will say if we do want to go with Intel and like a Core Ultra 7 instead, the B860 motherboards are on total fire sale. You can find incredible motherboards with great features for like $150. This RAM is an absolute mistake. DDR5 6000 CL36. Pause the video, type in below what is wrong with this RAM. Ready? Yes, it's a CL36. $89 for $5 cheaper than this kit. I can get you a kit that's DDR5 6000 CL30. If you're not familiar with how RAM speed works, check out our Best RAM for Gaming video. We go through how to take different cache latencies, and Intel platforms will actually benefit somewhat. The Core Ultra, not so much, but 14th gen will benefit somewhat from faster memory, although I still like DDR5 6000 CL30 for that. This is a SATA drive. This is not an NVMe SSD. Whoops. Now, this is an easy mistake to make. I typically in PC Part Picker check the NVMe box, not the SSD box, because that filters out all these SATA drives that are in M.2 format. They're not in the old, 2.5-inch format instead. The other way to tell, well, first of all, it says SATA on the drive. That's a dead giveaway, obviously. But another way to tell is that it has two of these, I don't know what these are called, these little pigtail connectors, and an NVMe drive has one long connector and one short connector instead. Ultimately, we're not even saving that much money. It's about $90 for 2 terabytes. On SATA, it's about $95, $96 for NVMe SSD, like a Gen 4 one, so that's what I would do instead. For the PSU, here's another problem I didn't even realize until right now. I looked at the estimated wattage and I almost fell out of my seat. 732 watts, then typically we multiply that by 1.5. When you do that, it's 1100 watts, and they don't really make 1100 watt PSUs. You jump up to 1200 watt PSUs. So unfortunately, the Cooler Master MW Gold, despite the fact that it's a pretty good B-rated unit, this is not enough power for our build. I at least don't feel comfortable with an 850 watt PSU in here. So I think we'd have to go 1200 watts, and at 1200 watts, those things start to get expensive really, really fast. The other thing I'm noticing here, you don't have a PC case. You don't have a PC case here. So we're not even just $1,961.78 over budget. We're actually way more over budget than that, because I would say at least, $70 to $100 for a PC case out there. So we're massively over budget, and we've got a lot of things to fix. Okay, this might be very controversial. I'm gonna show you the Intel build I did. I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it. You lose the future upgradability. To me, it's still not cheap enough just yet. Even though the motherboard's insanely good for the price, the Core Ultra 7, I think, could really use another price cut down to $199 as I look at this, because if you look at the gaming performance of what I put here, including a great gaming monitor, I'm coming in in over budget already at $31 over budget. I don't really know what else I would cut here, including we'd have to drop down the GPU, which I just hate. Feel like we're getting a lot less value. So I'm going to leave this up. You can take a look at it. If you disagree with me, this is the direction I would go with your build. But let me just show you this Ryzen 9600X gaming PC build that I think is incredible value for almost $100 less, almost $100 less. And it's going to give you future upgradability to the 9800X3D or whatever Zen 6 X3D is. You're going to get tons and tons of value out of this thing. But let's start off where else? Let's start with the GPU, because the GPU options on both these builds are the same. So I went with either the RX 9070 XT. Now, $729 is a Gigabyte Gaming OC. You can pick some of them up for $699. Hopefully in the near future, even cheaper than that. But I like this model in particular. If you're looking for a white model, however, they do have the ASRock Steel Legend on right now for $699 over at Newegg. I'll link that down in the video description. You can check it out. But these are great, and they have FSR4, which is much better than FSR3 because it's an actual upscaling method that uses the hardware instead of just a software method for 1440p. Now, your NVIDIA option here, basically, it's the RTX 5070 Ti. Also very, very good value. The PNY model recently hit the MSRP, but today it's back up to $779. For $10 more, I would go with the Ventus. The crazy thing here is even after Prime Day, the prices are getting better than Prime Day. That has never happened before. Typically after Prime Day, prices spike up and they stay up there until September, but prices for GPUs are actually going down. It's an upside down world right now. But this is a really good model. This was recently $900. Now it's $789, so 2 thumbs up there. In terms of how much FPS can you expect for this budget, including we are gonna get you a very, very nice monitor that I like quite a bit. We'll go through in just a moment. Here's the 9070 XT and 5070 Ti. Basically, they have roughly the same performance. Recently, Hardware Unboxed did a bunch of additional testing. They compared their current results against their results when these GPUs first came out, and they found that the Sapphire Nitro RX 9070 XT in their suite of test games is faster now, slightly faster than the 5070 Ti, although the 5070 Ti is also slightly faster than it was back then. So they're basically the equal of the 7900 XTX. They're within spitting distance of that GPU, and they both have a superior upscaling, and they've got better power and everything like that. So I would strongly urge you to consider those. Let's quickly talk about the gaming monitor. You need to invest more in your gaming monitor. You don't just want a crappy smear panel, basically. Now, there are some good budget 1440p gaming monitors. Check out our best 1440p gaming monitor video in 2025 for more options. But one of my strong recommendations, especially at an $1,800 price point, is get something that you're gonna feel good about. If you mostly play competitive titles, I would probably steer you to a 240 Hz flat IPS panel, but you seem more oriented to play with your son, play these more kind of cooperative games out there, Minecraft and others. So I wanna steer you to the AOC Q27 G40 XMN. I actually liked the previous version of this panel a little bit better, although this one has slightly better HDR. It's got more local dimming zones to it, but the stand is hot garbage, and they removed the USB hub. Those are kind of nice to have, but they're not absolute have to have features, because you can always buy a monitor arm for like $20 or $30, and that's what I would recommend here. The other one's completely sold out, unfortunately, so $269 right now over at Best Buy. This is your best bet. Not only are you gonna get a great 180 Hertz refresh rate gaming monitor, but it's got great HDR as well for an LCD panel. All right, let's jump through CPU motherboard. For the Ryzen build that I really am strongly leaning towards, right now, the 9600X is $204. Recently, it got down to $156. It's like an automatic pickup. $203 is still not bad for this CPU. However, you could also consider the Ryzen 7600X. It's sitting at $170 right now. It's really it's not that much slower than the 9600X. And I would strongly consider it if you need to save a little extra money. Otherwise, I would go with the 9600X, which is insanely easy to cool, by the way. Not only that, we get future upgradability on the AM5 platform. We'll drop in an X3D CPU in the future, and we'll be good to go. For the motherboard, the ASUS TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi is on sale for $159. It is a great motherboard. It's got upgraded audio on it. It's got a lot of additional features to it. It's got 3 full bandwidth M.2 NVMe SSDs, all of them with heat spreaders on them. It's got very, very good VRMs as well. It's just an overall really good motherboard. The only thing it lacks, in quotation marks here, is a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot. I do not think that's going to ever be important in the life of these PCs. However, I have recently changed some of my other recommendations. Say, hey, If you can get it for free, which you can now on a number of B650E and B850 motherboards that have gotten cheaper, go ahead and take it. But right now at $159, you can't really beat this motherboard. Both builds are basically identical from here. We went with the DDR5 6000CL30 RAM kit. It looked like you wanted a grayish kit because you were going with the Ripjaw, so I went with the Patriot Viper Venom. They have a really nice metal finish to them. Or, of course, you can get RGB kits for about $15 more, but this is the RAM speed you want for both of them. You do not need super expensive CUDIM memory for the Intel Core Ultra 7. By the way, this is absolutely fine, as well as it is for the Ryzen 9600X. For the drive, we actually got an NVMe SSD. You see how the connector here actually looks different. It's got only the small segment and then the one large segment. It doesn't have two small segments on it. Or the other thing, it says NVMe, and it's a Silicon Power UD90. This has just been recently kind of the top model in terms of price to performance, but a number of these models circulate around. You can check out all those 2 terabyte models and just pick up the cheapest one. For the case, because you didn't have one, I wasn't sure what to go with. I went with a Montech XR Wood, mostly because it's on sale and that Intel Core Ultra build was killing me with the price. So I just went with something super cheap out there. This is still a phenomenal case though. It's got 4 included ARGB fans. It looks phenomenal. You're going to top mount that 360 millimeter AIO. It's going to look insane and give you great airflow for a crazy low price. Okay, for the Ryzen build, we stuck it out with your Cooler Master power supply and finished out at $1,755.72. Whereas in the Intel build, we finished well over our budget because we did have to go with another 1,050 watt unit out there. It costs quite a bit more. This is the build that I would strongly urge you to stick with. I think you're going to get future upgradability. It's going to give you the gaming performance that you're craving right now. It's going to give you FSR4, or if you go with the 5070 Ti, DLSS4. So you're going to get insane performance either way at 1440p. We fixed your RAM mistakes, we fixed your SSD mistakes, and we got you a case that's going to look amazing. So I hope you feel like these builds are boosted. Those builds are linked down in the video description. Check them out for current pricing and availability in your region. And of course, if you got value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And subscribe for more cool PC content like our 9600X build guide. Finally cheap, the 9600X. It's a great gaming PC. Or check out our 7800X 3D, the best high-end value right now. Check them out, and we'll catch you on the next one.